Hey guys, how's it going? This is Matt, and this is World Snews Podcast 6. Today we're doing on the minimum wage. I just want to let y'all know that what I'm going to be doing here on the World Snews Podcast is I'm going to take more broader topics, such as feminism, gun control, minimum wage, things of that nature, and then once I feel like I've covered those enough, and I can always go back to them, I'm going to look at more specific examples and stories that I can, I'd say, more nitpick on and give you my opinion on those topics, kind of relating to these broader topics, which I'm going to go over first. So today is going to be on the minimum wage, and I will start off by quoting a person I look up to in politics, Ben Shapiro. He worked with Breitbart many years, and he started Truth Revolts, and he's written, I believe it's about 5 books now. I'm in the middle of reading one of his bullies. Check it out if you ever have the chance. It's about how the mainstream media is using bully tactics through such things as media, Hollywood, universities, things of that nature. It's a really interesting book, good read of what I've read thus far. But I'm going to start off with a quote from him, and it's obviously, I believe the best argument in favor of making poor people rich is capitalism. It's not mandating that companies stay here and pay $15 per hour. It's not paying tariffs. It's making sure people can buy things that they want at the prices they want, and they can work for the wages they want, and all those choices are made available to them. Something I like to point out is we actually see the poor getting richer because of capitalism. The poor in America are actually richer than the poor in such places as Europe. The poor are actually getting richer, and so they're able to afford more things thanks to capitalism, which is another topic I'm planning to get to another day. The first thing I really want to tackle is, should you get paid $15 an hour to flip a burger? No. I'm going to just, no. You should not. If we were going to discuss the effects of raising it, first we should ask, should we? All because we can doesn't mean we should. No, you should not get paid $15 for making a burger. Presuming, because, these people are so desperate to get that money. I'll talk about that later. But, okay, so let's presume they're working 40 hours a week. And so their total salary, if you raised it to $15 flat, would be $31,200. That is more than a staff sergeant makes in the Army. With less 2 years experience, a staff sergeant makes about $28,569.60 a year. No, you should not get paid more than someone who's getting shot at and protecting our freedoms. That's just, first of all, you should not get paid more than that person. Okay, but let's say your hours got cut a little bit, and now you're working 25 hours a week, and you're still making $15 an hour. So you're coming out with a yearly income of about $19,500, which you're completely outraged about. But a private in the military entering in makes about $18,378, and he's getting shot at defending our freedoms. There are plenty of jobs, even without the minimum wage, you don't even need college experience to do, that pay $15 an hour. Some do, some don't. See, I have some of them on here. Let me pull these up real quick. Such things as $15 an hour that you don't need $15 an hour and do not require anything more than a high school diploma. Be a bill collector, dental assistant, dispensing optician, fitness trainer, metal machine worker, and travel agents. Those, I believe, take a certain amount of skill to do, and I don't believe that you should get paid the amount that they get paid for flipping a burger. Private nurses make about $16 an hour. Some make $10. It all depends on who you get. You should not get paid more than them. What those jobs do is they require skill, and some of them require risk, as in the military. Your job, flipping burgers, requires no skill and virtually no risk, unless you're an idiot and you're placing your hand on the grill. Don't do that. It's not a smart idea. Now, something that our leftist friends love to throw at us, and I've seen many times, is that the average minimum wage worker is around 35. I will say, when I first heard that, it kind of took me back. Like, wait. So it's not all just teenagers? Well, no, because there's more to the story. There's more than people love to let on. There's always more behind the statistic. There's always more and more and more that you can find out and pretty much debate anything. That's all I'm going to say is, every time you hear a statistic, do not take that at face value, because you can always go deeper and deeper into an issue. Okay, so well, I did research on this, and I found that teens actually make up about 40% of those on minimum wage. So I was like, okay, well, how about the majority? Do the majority of people still depend on the minimum wage for their full income? The answer is no. 56% of those on minimum wage have a spouse that earns more than them for the whole entire family income. So now you're thinking, okay, well, they may earn more, the other spouse, but how much are they contributing to the family income? Because that really could make a big difference. Well, in most cases, it's about less than 20% of the whole entire family income. It's not that much. And those teens, they're still able to live at home, and that's just kind of money to go take girls out on dates, or buy a new Xbox game or something. This is not money that people are depending to live on. Sure, it helps, but the majority of people are not in dire need of this. Something that it always fascinates me. I'm not a supporter of this. I believe we should keep minimum wage where it's at. Something that's always kind of fascinated me is the idea if we completely got rid of the minimum wage. And so, in thinking and researching a little bit about that, I found, now since I'm limited on time here because I'm trying to keep these relatively short at 10 minutes, which isn't short, but it is ish, is that if we had no minimum wage, companies would have to compete via how much their wages were. Now, I'm not going to go into working conditions, promotions that the companies may give, incentives, things like that. I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going to go into the wages. So, let's say if there was no minimum wage, McDonald's decides to pay their workers, let's say $4. And Burger King comes back and they're like, okay, well, in order to get more workers, let's pay $4.50. Well, no one's going to work pretty much for $4 an hour, so McDonald's needs to raise their wages so they can actually get people willing to work. And plus, Burger King is now beating them out at $4.30, $4.50, whatever I said earlier, the higher wages. So now the businesses are going to go back and forth until they find a wage that the employer is willing to pay and that the worker is willing to work at. It's that happy equilibrium, and so the businesses are still able to stay afloat. They're still able to have workers, and those working are still able to get paid what they think is a fair wage. Otherwise, they go on strike, or they just don't work there and they go find work elsewhere. So, I'm not saying I'm supporting no minimum wage, but that's just kind of the basis argument. People love to say that those who don't support a minimum wage also support child labor, which I find completely ridiculous. That's why I like to bring it up, is just because the argument against it I have heard are not as sound as for it. But again, I still believe for those who do depend on minimum wage as a source of income, we should still keep it where it's at. Now, also the minimum wage is not meant for a family of 4. It's not really what it was made or built for, but for those who do depend on it, I believe we should keep it where it's at so they still have something. Something else you love to hear is how it's going to affect poverty levels. Well, BloombergView.com did a study, and when the wages were raised, they found that it did not affect poverty levels. I think this is mainly in part because when the minimum wage is raised, especially to such an extreme extent as $15 an hour, which is almost double for what my state is, North Carolina. I believe it's $7.25 here. It's over double. Yeah, it's over double that. The companies are either gonna have to fire a lot of people because they're not able to pay all the wages, or they raise the cost of their thing, so you want to pay $5 for a McDonald's burger as compared to $1, and then those on minimum wage, due to everything going up in prices, now have to pay more for everything they're getting, which takes away from their income, and then we're back into this whole debate again. Let's raise it to 20. No, we saw how well that went. So, you're either fired or prices go higher. Fired, higher. Something, the last point I want to bring up is, dear McDonald's workers, especially you cashiers, if you are fighting for $15 an hour, I want you to go to your local Sheetz. If you don't have a Sheetz, that's a shame. But go to your local Sheetz and order food. I prefer the sub there. Don't hate it until you try it. You're not going to talk to a person. You know what you're going to do? You're going to press buttons on a machine. A little touch screen. You're going to be like, I want this added to it. I don't want this. And generally the Sheetz I've been to, there have been 2 workers behind the table or counter making whatever. You are easily replaced. And if you can be replaced by a machine, then I think that you should be relatively quiet and happy with what you're making. You do not deserve it. Majority of you do not depend on it. And for your jobs, it doesn't take that much skill because a robot can replace you. This has been Matthew with World Snews. Thank you guys for listening. It really does mean a lot to keep these coming every week. Please check us out on Facebook at World Snews, Instagram, Twitter, world_snooze are for any advertising or business needs. We're at world.snooze3@gmail.com. Also check out my Instagram at Republican_funnies. Have a great day and God bless.